Chase Lee Hockey here at the Blue Futon, and out of the theaters, I saw I Heard the Bells. Have you heard of Henry Longfellow? Even though every time I hear Longfellow, I want to say Lightyear or Light something, I'm just a stupid person. So I Heard the Bell. What's about? It's a very simple premise, actually. We're talking about Henry Longfellow and his family during the Civil War. What is happening? Is he still going to be a poet? And what has occurred to make him not believe in God anymore? So, did I like this film? Unfortunately, I did not like this movie as well as I should have, in my opinion. To me, there is a good story or a good message in this movie, but it felt a little bit too preachy, and it just felt like a very stagnant movie where I'm like, please, can we go somewhere? And it just feels like it's stuck in the rut. So with that, I'll get the positives of the movie first. For being a low-budget movie, I think this production value is pretty high. I know what they're trying to do with some of the scenes and the nice, Virginia-esque manners, and it does work as well as it should with this style of budget. The acting is pretty good in this movie, especially by the kid actors and the main actors, even though I'd say some of it does feel a little bit wooden on some scenes, but overall, I'd give that a thumbs up. And the story, like I said, there's some positive and negatives. There is something in here about Henry Longfellow and his family of trying to figure out what he wants to do with a tragedy that happens with his wife, and then something that his son wants to do, Civil War type of era. But something in the story just feels like it doesn't go anywhere. I understand we're going from like 1860 to 1863, and you're not given a good timeline, but there is just, I wouldn't say a lot going on, but you had to figure out what these kids are going to do, what Charlie wants to do, what Mary wants to do, what Henry Longfellow is actually going to do with his poetry, and what's he going to do to try to save his family. But just getting from point A to point B to point C with the acts, it just doesn't connect for me. And like I said, it felt like there was a story there, but it was stuck in a rut, and it was like stuck in the mud, and it wanted to put the pedal to the metal, and it would, but the tire was just sitting there. I'd say the biggest fault is that the pacing. I was like, okay, when is this movie going to be done? I understand what you're trying to do with the story of like kind of this Patriot-esque Mel Gibson, Heath Ledger style story when it comes to Charlie and Henry, the son and father duo. But it just feels like it's there to be there, and I'm just like, give me a little more gravitas or give me a little bit more oomph so I'm more invested into this story. And that's the thing, there isn't a lot of dilemmas or stakes at play. The only stake at play, like, is this son going to survive in the war? But it doesn't, like, add anything to it because it's like, oh, write a senator to get him off the front lines. Oh, go to this general, and that's it. There's no dilemma. It's like, yeah, it happens, and it happens. Everything in this movie kind of hits that perfect path, and it doesn't stray away from it. So I Heard the Bells. I think it's a good story, good production value, and solid acting throughout. But my goodness, it is stuck in the rut. It needs to show its true colors. Like, there's a lot of faith-based movies out there right now, like Running the Bases, Prophet. I know I saw many other out there, and it's been a pretty solid movie about stuff that's not being preachy. This did have a decent preachy message overall, and it did felt like, a little bit too much, but like I said, the main issue I have, like, preachy, you can be preachy all you want. I'm not going to fault you for it if there's a good message to it, and there's a good message somewhere, but it just, for me, didn't hit the gut punch, didn't hit the right notes it should have. So I Heard the Bells will receive a 2 out of 5 with Futons, which equals at 40%. Let's see what the critics and user scores gave this one. So we have one critic, and it looks like he's giving it a 3 out of 4, so it's 75%, and then we have the audience score 100 with fewer than 50. So we have the 175-40. Chase Talk with the Blue Futon. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think is Bluetopia. You Blue Futonians. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. And like I said, if you can find the Mother Teresa documentary, watch that instead. If you can watch that Prophet movie from Poland, watch that instead. I'll watch Running the Bases instead. There's a lot of faith-based movies that came out this year. I was like, oh, wow, I was entertained. It's happening right here. Even though that's not really a faith-based one, that's a sex trafficking one. Find that one. But there's another one from Phantom Events I watched. I was like, oh, that's not a bad one at all. This one, lower totem pole with story, but production value was pretty high.